goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello there, and good morning. I have a sense it is a 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on April 19th. I'm Lynn Cullen here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Everybody's attention is riveted to the Northeast in Boston, Massachusetts. And because of that, I must tell you that if you're listening to me live, I'm a little surprised because I wouldn't be. I would not be. I would be glued to whatever's the breaking news is. If, however, you are, I'm glad. And if you'd like to talk about any of that, just give me a call. I'm sitting here. Also, if you're listening later, which is, in fact, most of you, I gave the time so that you would understand that everything is relatively fluid now. And probably by the time you're listening to this, if you do, anything I say about what's happening in Boston will be very old news. So, because that is the case, I'll tell you what I am going to do in this hour. I'm going to keep my eyes on the news, breaking news, so that I can let you know if anything monumental has occurred. On the other hand, I think I'm just going to continue to do subjects generally other than. I can give you at this point my sense and some of what I've thought. I did not know about this until, because I don't turn on anything. I'm so old school that this morning I did what I always do in the morning. I took my newspapers in, and I read my newspapers. I didn't turn on broadcast news until really about an hour ago. So when I turned it on and all hell's breaking loose, I've been playing catch-up ever since, just trying to understand the extraordinary events that happened overnight and that has brought us to the current situation, which at my time is one of the brothers dead, the black-hatted older brother dead, the younger brother still at large, believed to be very dangerous. Boston totally shut down. So I just saw a little bit of something where it said that the father of these two, who was located, I guess, in Russia, did say that the younger son is an angel, or one of the sons is an angel, I think the younger one, and an uncle who lives in the United States called, I guess, the other a loser. So we have an angel and a loser, as it turns out, family members telling us that much. Well, and to those of us who said, I think it's domestic, and others who thought it was, international, that was a big question, I guess we're both right. And there's so much more to be learned in that regard. But these brothers have lived here for 10 years legally. I'll tell you another thought I had. You know, the bipartisan immigration bill, this ain't going to help it. I'm just saying. Even though when we think of the immigration bill, we're thinking of south of the border immigration. That's what I always think, but that's not totally true. But I think the emotional issue of it, and the way it resonates in most Americans' minds, that's what it's about. Influx of South and Central Americans. But this is an immigration issue as well, since these two are immigrants. Well, I'll tell you something else. We're all about to find out a lot more about the Chechenian conflict, which we have not paid much attention to, right? Pops up every now and then, and I don't know that I've ever spoken about it. And this is why terrorists do what they do. They do what they do so that we will pay attention to their grievance. And for those of you who think it doesn't work, I assure you it does. You would think, hey, if the way you get my attention is by killing my child or killing my neighbor or by terrorizing my neighborhood, I'm not going to listen to a damn word you say. I don't care why you did it. That, frankly, is usually my reaction. However, invariably, what happens is they get their story out. Once a terrible thing like this is, our attention turns, and then we turn and we start hearing, why were these guys so blah, 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 if in fact this is about Chechnya? I guess that's something we don't know. Did I say I wasn't going to talk about this?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, okay, I'm not going to talk about this, and just try to stop me. Oh, Lord, the news this week has been, it's one, I was thinking, this conflagration in West Texas, that would be huge. The picture in all the newspapers of the United States today, if Boston hadn't happened, would have been a huge picture of just that total destruction. As it is, every paper in the United States did have the same picture. And it was the picture, of course, that the FBI released yesterday of these two. And the devastation in West Texas, it had to move onto the inside pages. News is interesting. Margaret Thatcher's funeral, which would have been a huge story. We have been, and I am glad, relieved of a lot of that coverage because of Boston, because of the gun, the failure to pass gun legislation. Each one is a huge story, and they all happen in the same week, and it gets very difficult. If you had something that information you wanted to get out this week, God help you, because there's no media to pay any attention. There are so many huge stories. The CNN is just reporting, not that we should listen to them, that 12 bodies have now been recovered at the site of the fertilizer plant explosion. And, any of those poor volunteer firefighters that were standing there. who had come in to fight the fire. If you've seen the video, when that thing blew, there's no way anybody survived that. Speaking of CNN, comedian Lizz Winstead has tweeted, and I think this is funny, so I'll share it with you. Breaking news. CNN drops plans for its new reality series, The Real Journalists of Atlanta. If you think it really has hurt CNN in a situation like today, where you want up-to-the-minute information, you have a choice. Fox, CNN, MSNBC. And maybe NBC and CBS are up. I don't know. And ABC. I doubt it much. So there is no doubt. The one you go to, the one that's got the best track record of actually giving you correct information, is MSNBC. Hands down. Hands down. Whether you like its liberal bias, which exists, or not, it at least still hews to some journalistic standards. I want to say that when those pictures came out last night, I'm looking at them and I thought, geez, they look like, in as much as you could tell what they look like 1 million people. And I immediately felt sorry for any young man with black hair and a prominent nose. I'm thinking, this looks like my brother, back in the day. This looks like 1 million people. This looks like a lot of Jews, a lot of, Spaniards. It looks like blah, 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 who knows? And I was thinking, if you looked at those pictures and then you looked in the mirror and thought, geez, that could be me, you would be rather uncomfortable, would you not? Anyway, I also found it interesting how when the pictures were released yesterday, the FBI would not, and absolutely would not, speculate about the age of these two in the picture, or their ethnicity, or their height, or their weight. And if you think that was political correctness, you are wrong. The FBI doesn't give a damn about political correctness at this point. They want to get their guys. What they didn't want is for people to be filtering anything through their own prejudices and biases, as we were all essentially deputized yesterday by the FBI. They took a calculated risk, as I understand it, in releasing the pictures yesterday, and it appears that risk has paid off. Here's the only other thing I want to say, maybe, about this. The thing that confuses me and that I am now most curious about is, why would these two hold up a convenience store? Obviously that draws police to them, when you would think they'd be doing the exact opposite. Since they stayed in Boston, they did not leave. It also occurs to me, if they held up a convenience store for money, which, since they have a large extended family here, would have been available to them. Anyway, I'm so confused by that. It's almost as if they wanted to draw the police to them. Maybe they wanted one more, I don't know. So anyway, I guess we'll find out. Oh, no, I have one more thing to say. As I listened to CNN and, because I tried them a little bit, CNN and MSNBC about this right now as it unfolds. MSNBC was being just extraordinarily careful. Chuck Todd was on when I came in, and every time a reporter said something that he thought could in any way have a detrimental effect on what the police are trying to do now, he would just shut them down. I didn't notice any of that on CNN, but then that's not their style. But I think it's MSNBC that had a former police profiler or FBI profiler on, this Van Zandt guy. And he said, and he's absolutely right, there's a very, very, very good chance that this 19 years old, that this 19-year-old kid is watching us right now. He's watching the news himself, getting whatever information he can from media. And this is one of those situations where media have to be it's true. Don't help that guy with what you say. But what Van Zandt did was fascinating, because he's talked to the kid. And or by talking to whoever he was talking to, essentially talked to the kid. He should know that why he did this is to bring out, whatever happened in Chechnya, or whatever his motive was. He's not going to get that out if he dies in some blaze of glory here. He gets that out if he surrenders peaceably. He gets his story out. And I hope he realizes that. And I think, so they're toying with his head through the media, saying, hey, your story will be told if you come on out. Of course, they want him because they want to know everything they can about these kids. And again, we don't know anything. Well, this is a kid, 19. In the last 24 hours, this kid has a 19-year-old. He's buried. His brother's dead. He's holed up with the entire law enforcement might of the United States bearing down on him. And he's got choices to make. Add to that the fact that he'd be sleep deprived. God almighty. So, anyway, there you have it. Whatever. I'm warning you, we're about to learn more about Chechnya. God. What a world. Okay, I really do think that was it. I think. And as I said, I really don't think anybody is listening to me right now. So I'm in a strange kind of a situation. And I'm segueing, but moving on. It's interesting how a phrase, or is this maybe what is a meme? A meme gets into the public consciousness, and all of a sudden that something that was never there before, a way of phrasing something that you never heard before, becomes the way that you explain it. Here's what I'm saying. I mentioned that I was annoyed by the people all saying, look at what great Bostonians, what great people they are, in that they ran toward danger rather than away from it. When obviously, really, most ran away from it, and quite a few ran toward it, because that's human nature. And running away is not bad, necessarily. It's survival, which is, I guess, our number one duty. But all of a sudden, that running toward it, which I had never... Is that something you've ever heard about, Jess, before? Like, no, those are people that run toward it. This is different all of a sudden. Well, last night, I happened to have the news on, and I was listening to an interview of a volunteer firefighter down in West Texas, and he said, we, are a certain kind of people here. And he said, we run toward, look at all those people, they ran toward that fertilizer plant fire. And I thought, okay, see, now he had just been hearing for the last few days that Bostonians run toward, and now he's saying, and we in West Texas, as you can see, ran toward, and they gave their lives, those who ran toward. Okay, but it's just the phrasing that's so fascinating. Then I'm looking at the front page of the Post-Gazette today in a little story about the awarding of the Carnegie Medals for heroism. And here's what the lead paragraph is. And this is written by Caitlin Riley. On that evening 3 years ago, when his Mount Pleasant Township neighbor went on a shooting rampage, Mark Garstick had a choice: to hide from danger or to run toward it. He ran toward it. He ran toward it. Isn't that fascinating? Well, maybe you don't think so. I find things like that fascinating. No, that was not a... He ran toward it. That's just all in our collective heads now, as a way of denoting heroism. He ran toward it. We ran toward it. That's the kind of people we are. We run toward it. By the way, for those of you who are annoyed by my pronunciation of T-O-W-A-R-D, I'm saying toward, like T-O-R-D, and I have it on very good authority that has absolutely the correct pronunciation, because when I took speech ages ago as a would-be actress, the speech teacher, I was saying toward, and she just beat it out of me. No, it's toward. But it sounded funny as I was saying it. To me, it still sounds funny in my ear. He ran toward it. Oh, brother, what a news week. Okay, what? I have a call? Mm-hmm. Hello, caller? Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
As well as can be expected.
You know what bothers me about things like that, this hero stuff? People have done the same thing for decades.
Well, forever.
And there was an ass-kissing. There's a lot of ass-kissing going on out there. And you get these, everybody that's in the service, they say, thank you for your service.
Right.
And they thank the doctors. They thank the nurses. I told my neighbor I'm going to thank the garbage man for taking my garbage, because if he wouldn't have taken it, I might have got a disease.
Well, you know, that's true.
I mean, aren't they doing their job? Aren't they getting paid for it? It just makes me sick. Everybody has a job to do. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But this bullshit of ass-kissing, it gets old real fast. Have a good day.
You too. Oh, I don't know if I think it's nice to thank people for whatever they're doing. I don't know if I agree with you on that one. I agree with the over-the-top stuff and the obligatory kind of stuff. Yeah, that I do. Well, geez, so that explains one person was listening. And here's Chuck. He must be listening too. What's wrong with you, Chuck? Or maybe you're listening, watching, doing all that stuff at once. Here, let me just get your email up if I can. Chuck says, I'm switching this morning between MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. And MSNBC is clearly providing the most fair and balanced reporting. Just the best reporting. They definitely are. CNN has 6 people on the scene, and they're clearly struggling to find something to say. Much of what they're reporting is fluff and speculation. MSNBC, to their credit, are being careful not speculate. I mean, they're going overboard, myself, not to speculate. But better that direction than the other. I mean, to their credit, as you say. And Fox, well, I turn there for comic relief, he says. Okay. Thank you. I have an audience of 2. I love it. Okay, we got to take a break. Indeedy. Be right back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen live after this.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper is available now. Pick up one today for our inaugural travel guide magazine. Plus, anything goes. Clutch, and a look at how green is the burg compared to other cities. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
It's warming up outside, so get to Little's for all your spring needs. Little's has everything for men, women, and children to stay in style for this upcoming hot summer. Lots of great colors from Dansko, New Balance, Steve Madden, and much, much more. Don't forget to come visit this season's colorful handbag selection as well. Little Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Okay, the Dartmouth campus is entirely closed. Dartmouth has confirmed that one of these bombing suspects is a student who is registered at Dartmouth. And just giving you the latest. Wow. ABC reporting that the FBI has placed wanted digital billboards throughout the city for suspect number 2. So they've commandeered all those digital billboards and are able to immediately put up. It has been fascinating watching the law enforcement on this and how they've done it from the blast to now. It's fascinating to watch. The father is now telling the kid to surrender. And that's all my little Twitter feed's telling me. Let me move on to a few other things, in as much as they are of any interest at the moment. In regard to the horror there in West Texas, and we all learned something there. I'm always saying we learn geography through tragedy. We always do. So through terrorism, we've come to know a little bit more about maybe the Middle East. Through our wars in Afghanistan and where else have we been? Iraq. No American could pinpoint either of those on a map. I exaggerate only slightly, and now a few of us can. Chechnya, as I said, we're about to know more about. And West Texas, when I heard that this plant was in West Texas, my first thought was, well, where in West Texas? I mean, West Texas is bigger than most states. But it turns out it's a little town named West, Texas. So we learned that. Now, a lot has been made of the fact that the people in West Texas actually was built up around this plant. And the Wall Street Journal has a piece in which town person after town person is quoted as saying, "We never even thought of safety issues." Now, they built schools, right? They built 2 schools, like right in the shadow of this fertilizer plant. They had that nursing home right in, or as they so colloquially and quaintly called it, every time I heard someone talking about it on the news, the rest home. Remember when we used to, the rest home? They built the rest home right there. So they put their elderly and their children right there in the shadow of a fertilizer plant. Now, I don't understand chemistry that well, but I do know this, that fertilizer, speaking of terror, fertilizer is one of those readily available products that can, of course, make your plants grow. That's for the good. Or can be used to create a bomb, a very big bomb. That's what Timothy McVeigh used. Oklahoma City. So, why would... I don't know. So, all these quotes in this article. Safety never crossed our minds. It wasn't an issue. Here's another guy saying, we never thought about an explosion. And this will draw attention to the fact that fertilizer operations receive next to no oversight. Next to no oversight. Isn't that amazing? Even because it's potentially very volatile, and because it's potentially used in a terrorist attack. In fact, the worst industrial accident in this nation's history happened in 1947 in Texas when ammonia nitrate fertilizer that was being carried on a ship near Texas City exploded. The worst industrial accident in U.S. history. That explosion, fertilizer explosion essentially in Texas, killed 581 people. And they're looking into the fact that this plant, was rarely inspected by anyone. The last time OSHA inspected was 1985. God knows the great state of Texas probably isn't known as a great regulatory giant. And they, by law, have to file plans with, I think, the EPA for how they would handle the substances in their plant. And the most recent plan filed by this fertilizer company was in 2011. And in the plan that they sent to the EPA, this fertilizer company actually said that their operation did not pose a risk of either explosion or fire. Well, unbelievable. So, we'll be unbelievable. More with that. Why am I laughing? Here's something that should boil your blood. It's just a little item. I think it was in the business section of the New York Times today. Oh, Gigi says I'm listening. Gigi! As I said, I wouldn't be. I'd be glued to the TV set. I suppose you can do both. Whatever. This is about the fact of, the banks, the wonderful banks in the US of A, which through their absolute, many would argue criminal conduct, but certainly unbelievably incompetent handling of the money that they had in their care, brought on what frighteningly looked like it could be a world depression. As it is, we staved off the depression, but we got a recession that we're still, as you know, crawling out from under, right? No bank guys have gone to jail for any of this. But here's something. People lost their homes, as you know. The little people, as usual, got trampled and suffered. The big guys, as you know, their salaries are going up. And here's something scary. This was in the New York Times today. They're at it again. The banks that created risky amalgams of mortgages and loans, the kind that went kaplooey, causing the recession, are right now, as we speak, busily cooking up and reviving the same exact types of investments that you, silly you, might have thought would have been illegal now. Right? Right? Didn't we clamp down on some of this behavior after we suffered so? After Americans lost their homes, half of their 401ks, after Americans have to work forever now and can't retire, after all the horror, the unemployment that was caused. Didn't we tell these banks that you can't do that kind of thing anymore? Apparently not. Says here, it underscores how these investments, known as structured financial products, have largely escaped new regulations that were supposed to prevent a repeat of the last financial crisis. And then they quote some guy, a banking analyst, saying, wow, it seems like a fairly quick round trip. Which is to say, unbelievable, huh? What is that, 6 years? They almost take the entire global economy down, doing this kind of crap. And now the recovery is underway. And they're doing it again. Just can't help themselves. This is a different kind of terrorism. But I wish the feds would go after these jerks. Well, thanks, Gigi. She says, I'll go back to the breathless this just in coverage later. That's true. I mean, whether you take a little hour break with me or not, it won't change anything, right? You can catch up. Unless you're missing the great moment itself. Apparently not. As I said, I'm on top of everything because I'm on Twitter. Okay, let's have a little... This is totally not anything you need to get freaked out about, or not. This is just to alert you, since Pittsburgh is not usually like in the vanguard of change. We're a little late coming to the party often. So I'm just warning you that maybe in about 3-4 years you're going to be seeing this also here. There's a new trend in parenting. Oh, I have a call. I can't believe it. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I
didn't know you were going to pick up the phone that fast.
Hey, we're desperate here. I'm talking to myself.
I'm watching you on my computer screen.
Okay, hi.
And the real reason I'm just calling you, thanks for waiting. I know this is going to turn out to be a sad, sad day for you on the left and the left-wing media.
Why?
These two brothers, they're not in the Tea Party. They're not American. They're not, they're not right-wing extremists. What are you going to do?
Well, yes, it's a great disappointment to us all.
I know. You were waiting and hoping and praying that they got to be a Tea Party. They got to be gun-worshipping Reaganites or conservatives. They got to be. And now, who knows?
It's
one's dead, and who knows? The more we learn, the less it. No wonder MSNBC, they're going to just whitewash the whole story. They're not even going to report anything. They're going to pretend to not have. Fortunately, you got that guy down in Alabama or somewhere who sent the ricin to the White House.
Oh, the Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, maybe he's probably a Tea Party guy.
No, I don't think he's political. I think he's just nuts. Hey, I got to tell you, that's a great call. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad you're having fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Chris Matthews squirming on there saying, well, we got to look into it. Maybe they'll find out that that these two, they once maybe walked past a Tea Party event or something. Maybe. Who knows?
It looks like the Tea Party's off, is in the clear.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
All right.
Oh, yes. I know that I know they're all disappointed over there. You're disappointed.
No, I'm not
Chris Potter's not going to know what to do. Now he's going to have to write a story about somehow they got to be connected to they got to be like something. There's got to be something.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I've got the connection.
Oh, they got the wrong ones.
No, I got the connection.
No, I got it now. Now, wait. I found it. I got it. It just came to me.
What?
This will redeem the left. You'll start all thumping your chest saying, "Why did they do this? Why did they do this? It must be our terrible. We're doing something wrong. Americans are terrible. They're evil. It must be that they were mad at the Tea Party. That's why they did it."
No. And I said that at the beginning of the show, that terrorism works because we then inevitably ask, why did they do this? And then I said we're going to find out all kinds of things about Chechnya, which we don't want to find out. Chechnya's grievance, by the way, is with Russia. So why didn't they do this in Russia? That's what I want to know.
Well, it was just easier to guess. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I think they've done plenty in Russia.
But believe me, if you look around, I'm sure Chris Matthew or Rachel Maddow will find a reason, or Tom Hartman, that it was America did something to get them mad.
Okay, but here's what I think. The Tea Party connection is that Chechnyans do drink a lot of tea.
Well, see, now you're talking.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Lynn.
Bye. Oh, lordy. But I was just going to head into something totally about parenting. Listen to this. The parents of today drive me absolutely bonkers. The latest trend is diaperless babies. It is. There's a whole story here, right here. I got it. Diaperless. In fact, there's a movement afoot. It's called the EC movement. You don't want to know. E stands for elimination, and C stands for communication. Elimination, communication. And this is where the parents, starting from day one, when the child is just days and weeks old, start communicating with them about their elimination. Go ahead. Unbelievable. Hello.
Sorry, Lynn. Now I cut off your parenting thing.
That's okay.
It's Michael from Polish Show, but I'm calling you from my hotel just to let you know that I always try to listen before we check out of the hotel. But there's a thing that I do when we're on the road, and we've been on the road since the beginning of the month.
Where are you? Where are you?
Right now I'm at the Hyatt Place in Columbus, and we're getting ready to leave and drive to Atlanta tonight, or today.
Okay.
But one thing I always do when we're on the road is I never turn on the TV in the hotel and never watch the news at all, because there's enough anxiety with the shows and following the Facebook and trying to promote the shows and stuff, so I don't follow the news at all, but I do listen to you. So I'm glad that you let me know what was going on, but I'm not going to watch it at all till I get home at the end of the month.
Oh, come on, you can do that? Really?
Yeah.
Michael, it's fascinating sort of what's going on. Really? Oh, come on.
I know, and I usually am a news junkie when I'm at home, but when we're on the road, it's just like, I don't know,
business.
It's too much. I don't read the papers. I don't do anything except concentrate on the shows and trying to survive day by day, you know.
Is it really?
Find someplace to eat, find someplace to shit, find someplace to sleep. That's about you become like a really primal creature, because you just have to like concentrate on doing the shows, and everything else is just a survival instinct.
Geez, so you're here to tell me that a touring rock band, it's that grim? It's not like groupies?
Oh, no. This hotel room is more beautiful than my home. So I enjoy that, too. Beautiful showers, beautiful hotel rooms, and we do get beautiful meals, too, especially in Europe. They feed you so well.
Yeah,
and plus, I'm constantly drinking the whole time, too, so... It's just when we're on tour, it's my vacation from the news. Except for you, though, I do try to listen online in the hotel, or at least listen to the podcast when I can download it. And the
well, all hell's breaking loose on your television right now, and that you can.
It's like a giant 50-inch screen too, but I'm not turning it on.
Wow. What? I can't even imagine.
And actually, this kind of story is not really something I'm that interested in anyway.
Really?
You know, I mean, there's always going to be people blowing stuff up, so.
Isn't that true? But So good for you for being so self-protective and knowing that you don't want to take on any more anxiety and pressure than you need to. And that's amazing. I once had a doctor, when I went in complaining a host of, like headache, stomach, blah, blah. He just said to me, he said, I was listening to your show the other day. It's your job. Mm-hmm. Your job. He said, I think your job is probably wreaks havoc on your body.
Well, so does touring and playing every night too. But
so you don't want to add
job,
on,
but
right.
And you do a great job at it too. But also, you once in a while you take a break too. I know when you go on vacation, right? You just shut off all the news and papers for a while. Sometimes, right?
Wrong.
Wrong.
I'm incapable of it. When I'm in Green Bay, I actually get in the car and drive. I have to go either downtown or to this, or in the other direction, to this one place where I can get a New York Times.
What about when you took your hiatus?
Oh, I still read the newspapers every day. Wow. I can't not. I was a news junkie before I did what I do. I've always just been fast. I'm always astonished that people can live their lives and not know what's going on.
You know what? 99% of the people I think do that.
No, they do. I'm always amazed when
That's why they're not on antidepressants.
No, and they're probably not, and they're healthier. But every once in a while,
they do say ignorance is bliss. But I also find, besides listening to your show, I have a lot of fun listening to like a lot of comedy podcasts I download too, and listen to those in the van and stuff. So.
Well, you sound like you're a very emotionally healthy person.
No, not at all. That's the thing. Exactly the opposite. But I find that I have to do that, so I don't have a nervous breakdown.
Okay, I got you. We all have our coping mechanisms and skills. So,
well, I just wanted to let you know I was listening.
It's great. Well, safe travels.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. I'll talk to you later.
Bye. That's Michael from The Cynics. He is the lead singer. And I thought he was going to be in Europe, because usually they're touring in Europe. I'm never going to get this diaperless story in, am I? I'm going to take another break. I know. That's exactly why. I'm going to take another break, and then I can't believe it. So I have 1, 2, 3. I'm aware of 5 people listening in real time to this program today, and an interesting bunch they are. Yeah. Okay. Back in a sec.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
War changed you. In 1941, as Poland was being invaded by other sovereign forces, one village in Poland was the site of unspeakable horror. As Russian and German forces pressed in, almost all of the Jews in the village were tortured and killed. For decades, the crime was blamed on the Nazis. More recent evidence suggests the villagers themselves may have committed the atrocity. PICT presents Our Class by Tadeusz Słobojenik in an English version by Ryan Craig. Our Class is an unforgettable theater experience. Through May 4th, visit PICTtheater.org for tickets. That's PICTtheater.org. PICT performs at the Stephen Foster Memorial at the University of Pittsburgh.
Go to BarkBargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 20% for Red Lobster and Marshall's gift cards. Supplies are limited. BarkBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BarkBargains.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Oh, geez, there's even more people out there. Rich writes, I'm here too. I have you in my right ear and MSNBC in my left ear. I need to know, what shows was Michael talking about? Cynics. Okay, I guess I answered. The Cynics, they live here in the Berg, but they're internationally known. Go ahead. Caller, hi.
Hey, Lynn, how are you?
Oh, fine.
Yeah, this is John from Greensburg.
Yeah.
Was that one call with the gentleman expressing this idea that we on the left are going to be massively disappointed and it's some sort of tragic day? Was that intended to be satire? Was he going for satire there?
I think a little of both. I think he really did. And I don't listen. I'm not going to argue with him. I think that a lot of people were saying, if this is one of these right-wing nuts, this will further, hurt the right wing. I think there were people that were hoping.
Oh, I
you don't think so?
Those people were very few and far between. I think those were.
No, I think I don't know. I thought it was.
I disagree. I know David Serrata. I think he was writing the David Serrata article that was written on Salon. David Serrata was writing that it would be better if these people were found to essentially be Christian Americans of whatever stripe, or simply white Americans, people in the majority in this nation, because when non-Americans or members of minority groups engage in this type of behavior, the nation undergoes these wild public policy reactions, which we simply don't have in the case of incidents perpetrated by members of the majority culture.
Right.
I mean, if you go back to the Oklahoma City bombing, the entire right wing was not stigmatized because of that.
Good God, no.
I mean, if it were, we wouldn't have had the Tea Party movement in 2010.
Okay. Well,
there were no restrictions placed on right-wing speech, on AM right-wing hate radio, none of that. Nothing at all.
No, I agree.
Done politically.
I agree, and then we overreact.
I mean, good God, the Sandy Hook massacre couldn't even result in expanded background checks in this country. But in the wake of Islamic terrorism, or the threat of such, we have political actions such as the Patriot Act, black site renditions, so-called enhanced interrogation, which the rest of the world sees as torture, drone attacks that cause collateral damage. I mean, that's what David Serrata was referring to. He didn't suggest that was the appropriate response if the first of all, he wasn't hoping, he didn't express any hope whatsoever that the perpetrators would be right wing. He just said he hoped they would be American and that they would be the members of the majority race and culture in this nation.
Okay, well, John, I don't know. I had seen a tweet the other day from a Muslim American saying we have our fingers crossed that this is not
Oh, of
Muslim.
course. I'd rather imagine any decent Muslim American that doesn't want another example of a member of their religion committing a terrorist act.
I was hoping that too, because I can imagine how hard this is for them. Whatever. And as I said, this won't help the immigration bill. It might not hurt it, but it sure as heck ain't going to help it. And whatever. Hey, I gotta run. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Did I get a break in? Did I take my second break?
Yeah.
Oh. Stupid. I thought I didn't. Okay, I am doing this diaperless thing now. Elimination communication. Here's what they say. I think a lot of parents, well, the motivation is just to be more in tune with what their children's needs are. Like, now parents have to be so in tune that they want to know about every time the kid needs to eliminate anything. So here's how they say this works. The parent watches for cues that mean the baby needs to go or was going, like a certain cry or squirming or grimace. I always think it's funny you can tell when babies are pooping because exactly their faces get their faces look like they're working. Yeah. So then if you're doing a diaperless baby routine, then you really notice those things and you start vocalizing. If you know they're peeing, you do something like sss. If you know they're pooping, you do like a grunt sound. I'm not kidding you. This is what these parents are doing. And then, here's what ends up happening. If you then take the baby, as young as a few months old, over to a pot, or the sink, they say, hold him over the sink or the toilet for perhaps 20 seconds, and then you make your noises. You go sss, and the baby then pees. Or they don't because blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it says here that this can help kids get toilet trained as early as 18 months, which is a heck of a lot sooner, in fact, than what we do. But a lot of people find this disgusting. A lot of diaperless babies running around doing it wherever they... As the last quote in this is why I brought this up, because I love it. Here's a woman who actually does it, and she says... Oh, wait. I have absolutely been at parties and witnessed people putting their babies over the sink. One client took her baby and her bowl, so they walk around with bowls, to a party, held her naked baby over the bowl, and she just did it at this person's party in the corner. And then this woman goes on to say, I don't think you can walk down Fifth Avenue and just let your baby poop on the sidewalk. And get ready. You know, I used to have to clean up after your dog. Well, you're going to have to clean up after your diaperless baby. I thought when I saw diaperless, I thought it was some kind of environmental thing. It's not. No, it's some crazed, I can't be close enough to my child. You have to sleep with them. You have to hold them in certain ways. They have to be pressed to your breast at every second. Oh, God, enough! Whatever floats your boat, just be a little more quiet about it, if you don't mind. Speaking of the networks, and there was a fascinating piece, I don't know where I got this, about how Fox News essentially, hardly even covered the gun debate. Now, you would think Fox News would be out on that one, on we know what side. They didn't want to cover it. And here's a...
You never had this many calls. Ever.
Hello.
Oh, geez, the subject matter. Nobody's listening and watching. Just kidding, Lynn. George Ramon.
Jeez. Hi, George.
Yeah.
Thanks for being there.
Hey, I was gonna comment about this right wing guy saying about lefties being upset with the result of this terrorist thing. But this thing you read about diaperless babies.
That's better.
I'm a father having raised two daughters.
Uh-huh.
The problem is not with the babies in elimination, it's the parents in elimination. Think about it. All you have to do is turn on TV and see how they handle elimination. You never, ever, ever see it. You never see it. You see bears with toilet tissue in the woods, and that's the best they can get, to be explicit. Okay? They never, adults don't talk about it if they have problems, or else they talk around it,
Well, you haven't been in my family. It's dinner table conversation.
Yeah, maybe not. But elimination, I as an adult, I've been influenced by my German wife. And natural processes in Europe are much more taken as a regular everyday thing, as sex, elimination, whatever, and it's not an aberration and something to be ashamed of. And going to the bathroom is not, especially the French. The French, they They don't divide the sexes in their public washrooms. They don't put up partitions. They don't put locked doors on stuff and everything. I mean, they're much more accepting in natural biological processes.
Well,
so I'm saying these parents are really screwed up. They're the ones with the problems. Until I see somebody wiping their ass on TV, I'm not going to accept that our culture has come to terms with the natural process of elimination. But one thing I got to tell you, too.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital a few years ago for a back operation, and the operation, makes you constipated, really stuffed up. Okay, and I was like that for 3 days, about to explode. And so the nurses handle it quite well, and everything is fine and everything. And I'll tell you, elimination is a godsend. And it is beautiful to be able to function properly. And I wish people would come to terms with this culture is hung up on eliminating, least of all with anybody around. They mask it with perfumes, they turn on the fans, they put on the music, they distract each other. The culture's screwed up, and the parents are, not the kids.
Okay,
that's my piece.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Painkillers can't do them because they constipate you. Horrible. Okay, let's see what we got here. Wait a minute. Oh my God, there's so many. Jeez. Hang on. There is so many emails. So what is it, Jess? What do you think is going on that I said no one would be listening today?
You've had 5 calls.
And we've had more calls than usual. What is with you guys? Okay, here's another listener, Pittsburgh girl. I was wondering why right after the bombing, Putin was offering help from Russia and sending bomb technicians. I guess it makes sense now. Wonder if they were hearing some chatter on their end. The whole thing is just tragic. Yeah. Putin is, Chechnya has been a big issue for him. I think, didn't he, I don't know, I almost think he sort of because he was such a strong, he clamped down on the Chechnyans and I think got very popular doing that. Joe says, don't worry, I watch you every day no matter what's going on out there. Well, wow. Here's Ray on the Tea Party caller. I am so happy you got that gleeful call from the Tea Party apologists. Their reaction to tragedy and strife, their tragedy and strife as if it were a sporting event where their team is against our team shows clearly their profound emotional immaturity. An immaturity that arises from a combination of a dash of sociopathology and a heavy dose of xenophobic hatred of things not white and suburban. They never fail to disappoint my disgust with them. Wow. See, that you might have been annoyed by my reaction to the caller because I was laughing. And I laugh because, first of all, there's something funny about the way. And I thought there was a slight. I do know that, I think some people were saying, oh, wow, if this is some right-winger, that's going to. Come on. I do think that was there. You're hoping it won't be this group. You're hoping it's more that with me. I was sort of hoping, oh, please don't let this be another Muslim. Oh, God. I feel sorry for the good Muslims. I just do. I don't know. Okay. Here's another reason I love that call. I, as you know, don't like the echo chamber. I hate that we all just talk to each other and agree with each other. And I love a call like that. And in fact, what? It begot another call quickly, and actually 2 calls, although George decided he'd rather talk about poop. And by the way, I was reading, this book recently, and And pooping used to be considered a very social function. And the Romans had, I'm serious.
I'm thinking it is a social function.
Well, we didn't know, but
my group of friends.
when they, oh, really? When they would, the Romans, who had great sewage stuff, and I mean, they were very careful about that kind of thing. But they had, these rooms that had a lot of different, places to do it. And it was considered a social thing. You'd sit in there with a bunch of people, everybody's pooping, everybody's doing their thing, and no problem. And then, even in this country, when we built outhouses, there were 2-seaters, 3-seaters, meaning the whole family's in there at the same time, right? No, this sort of squeamishness about bodily elimination is probably something from the Victorian era, where we got squeamish about absolutely everything having to do with our bodies. Well, our Tea Partier has written back. His name is Dave. And he said, I forgot to mention this. These 2 brothers are white. That will make the left happy. Wow. Okay. All right. I think the general feeling is there's no reason to make this left-right. I think, as the president said, and as others have said, when it comes to this kind of thing, we're all Americans, right? And we react as one, and we're not Republicans, and we're not Democrats, and I guess that doesn't work anymore. But I do like the idea that people who don't agree with me and or us, most of the audience, are listening and even contributing, because I think it, God knows, it shakes the show up, right? Okay, well, that's it. I thought this was going to be like pulling teeth, and this is one of the easiest shows I've had in a long time. So I'm going home and will glue myself to the television like the pathetic junkie I am. Tune in 4802 tonight at 7:30. I'll be there with the usual cast of characters. Chris Moore, by the way, who hosts that show, got a huge award last night over at the Weston, the Art Rooney Award, and his speech was simply wonderful. I'm proud to be associated with him. Okay, otherwise, talk at you again on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.